is I'm going to begin to glue the parts on. Now, one thing I want to say is when you're thinking about what you're going to do next, sometimes you don't do all the gluing, and sometimes you don't do all the puttying at the same time. You might have to do some gluing and then puttying, gluing again, puttying again. And the reason for that is you got to look at your kit and look at the way it's put together and think, okay, if I glue this together, am I going to have a hard time doing the next thing? For instance, if I wanted to work on these teeth, if I wanted to do some painting inside the mouth first, which oftentimes I do paint inside the mouth before I glue everything together, because once I put these pieces together like this, I won't be able to get inside the mouth with the brush very well. But I could decide to put either the lower jaw on or the top of the head on and still be able to paint or do whatever I want to. So you have to think about that before you go to the next step. It's kind of a mess to glue the parts together and then have to unglue it because you realize that you shouldn't have glued it yet. But it can be done. You can get goof off, which is basically like an acetone that can take off super glue, but it's a lot easier not to do that. Now when I get ready to glue, there's a couple things I use. I just use an old clothes hanger, and I'll cut pieces of it, and once I have a piece like this that's kind of long, I just put it in a place where I know where to get to it. And then I'll take pieces to the size I want, and the way you find that out is you have to think about, okay, how deep did I make the hole for the head, for instance, and so you put that in there, and then you try to fit it by putting the other piece on, and you want to make sure you can really get it to seat and to have the part fully go on there just as easily as it does without the pin, because sometimes the pin might be a little off and it can cause some problems. Why do you pin it? The reason why is because super glue is really strong, really good, but it doesn't have a lot of shear strength. So on a model like this, it's not going to be a big deal. Maybe I wouldn't need to pin any of it. And sometimes certain, particularly resin kits, have a like a key and tongue and groove kind of thing that sort of helps with that already, and you might not need that. But a lot of people like to pin every part of their kit. I seldom pin the fins on there, and that's usually the part that'll fall off if I handle it wrong. But anyway, that's why you want to do pinning on resin kits sometimes. So I've decided that I could put the tail on and I could put the top of the head on and still be able to do painting. I can also put on the arms. So right now I'm going to glue the tail on, and so I have a piece of wire here. I'm going to stick in the tail on this end. I have my other end piece of tail here, and I've already tried to put it on there to see if it'll work, and I'm liking it pretty well. Here's an example of where I had to think, okay, do I want to put this on yet? Because to dry brush, there's not a lot of room in here if I put that tail on, but I think I can handle that, and so I'm going to go ahead and put it on. You just have to make that decision. I have two different kinds of super glue here. One is a thin. This is an Extreme Power is the brand. Thin is the pink one, and the yellow one is thick. I prefer thick. It doesn't run real a lot. This, you put it on and it just like runs all over the place. Also in this little Dixie cup I have some baking soda. Just like Arm & Hammer baking soda that sometimes people put in their refrigerator to make it smell fresh and use it for cooking or whatever, or to brush your teeth even. It's sodium bicarbonate, I think it is. So anyway, what you use this for is to help the super glue react quickly. And I don't use this on every kit, but when I'm doing a kaiju or a Godzilla model, it works real well when you put the glue on there and you put it together and you're holding it. You sprinkle that stuff in where the crack is, where the bond is, and any glue that's on the edges will react to that, and it'll help hold it. Also, it kind of blends right into the texture of Godzilla here, and works really well to maybe save you some putty. Some people put putty on the edge and put the piece on with the super glue inside. To me, that's a little messy. I don't like to do that too well. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and put on some super glue, hopefully, and I'm going to make sure you don't ever get this in your eyes, because then you'll be going to the emergency room trying to keep your eye from closing. Put a little bit on the end of the thing, of the wire. Put it on fairly liberally, but I don't want it all over the place, so I got that on there. Now I'm going to put my tail where I want it and make sure it's turned the right way, because it's not going to be easy to move again. And you hold it in place for a little bit. And sometimes this stuff will bond really quick, and sometimes it seems to not want to bond at all. And realize that you're probably going to want to do some puttying anyway, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Just make sure you have it where you want. Now I'm going to take this baking soda and I'm just going to sprinkle it down into the cracks and such. And I don't care if it gets all over the model right now, because all I got to do is blow on it and most of that will come off. Sometimes I use some of that air that you get to clean your computer off, and use that to get this off better. So what's nice about putting this on too is that when you feel the crack, it doesn't try to run out on you so much and get on your on the part of your model you don't want it, and then it dries hard, and then you have a problem with your texture. It makes a bit of a mess, but it's not any kind of stuff that's a problem. All right, now let's blow that off a little bit. I see an area where I want a little bit more. Reapply it just to make sure. Now, I've done this before where I take some of the thin stuff and just put a careful drop right on top of that. I'll do this all the time, but if I want to fill a crack that's pretty big, works pretty good. There we go. It can burn if you get that super glue on your fingers and the baking soda. It can give a little bit of a burn. It's not going to be real bad, but you'll feel it. Alright, so now have the tails on there. Hopefully it's on there right. Okay. So that's how we do it. Hope that was helpful, and see you next time. Bye.